For tonight's homework, students are going to be working with decimals mixed with fractions and whole numbers. They're going to be using the order of operations, which is PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. First, students use parentheses and do everything inside parentheses first. Then, if they have a number that has an exponent, they're going to go ahead and solve the exponents. Then you multiply and divide in order left to right. So multiplication and division are inverse operations. So if divide comes first, then you divide first, then multiply. So when all the multiplication and division is done, then you go on to subtracting and adding, or adding and subtracting. So once again, adding and subtracting are inverse, so you do whichever one comes first. Our first problem that we have has division first, so we're going to automatically do 4.2 divided by 2. So 4.2 divided by 2. This is already a whole number, or divisor, so we just bring our decimal point up into our answer. So once we have our decimal point in our answer, then we just divide, just like it's 42 divided by 2. Goes in there twice, which is 4 and 0. Bring down the 2. 2 goes into 2 one time, which is 2 and 0. So our answer for that is 2.1. So we're going to go back to our problem and put in 2.1 where the parentheses were, and then we're going to add 1.6. So now, when we're line up our decimal points. So we add our tenths here in the first column, and we get 1 and 6 makes 7, and then our ones, 2 plus 1 makes 3, and we still keep this as ones and these as tenths, so we get 3.7. So our answer will be 3 7/10. For B, on this one, we have two divisions, then a subtraction. So the first thing we're going to do is our first division. We do them in order. So we have to do 3.5 divided by 5. That was actually 3.4 divided by 5. So once again, since our divisor is a whole number, we just need to bring our decimal point up into our answer. And then we divide, like going into 5 into 34. So 5 will go into 36 times. So that's going to give us 4. When we subtract, we can put a 0 there. And then we have a 4 here, so we can always just add another 0 at the end. And 5 goes into 48 times. Exactly. So we get 0.68. So this becomes 0.68, and then we can just bring everything else down. And now we're going to go ahead and do the next division. So we have 68 hundredths divided by 4. So to do this, we just put our decimal point up, then 0 goes in 0 times, it goes into 6 one time. 1 times 4 is 4, it brings down a 2, and an 8, and 28 divided by 4 is 7. So we get 17 hundredths. So this equals 17 hundredths, then we bring down what we haven't used yet. So we have 17 hundredths minus 2 hundredths. And when we're doing adding and subtraction, that is Colt combining only like terms, which simply means that we're going to have our hundredths lined up, our tenths lined up, our decimal points lined up, and our ones lined up. So we just simply need to go through and subtract. 7 minus 5, 7 minus 2 is 5, and 1 minus 0 is 1. And since it's like terms, these are still tenths, and those are hundredths. So we get 15 hundredths. So our answer for this would be 15 hundredths. Our next one, we're going to skip down to E. We have, first of all, some exponents. We do parentheses first, then exponents. So we go right to this exponents. This is 1.2 squared. So in order to do this, 1.2 squared means we write 1.2 twice and multiply them. So when we're multiplying decimals, first of all, we can multiply it and ignore the decimal points. So 12 times 12 is 144. Then we can count our places. 1 place, 2 places, 1 place, and 2 places. So 1 and 44 hundredths. So this became 1 and 44 hundredths. Everything else that we didn't use divide 2 or plus 2, so we write those down. Now we continue and we do division before we do our addition. So 1 and 44 hundredths divided by 2. So 1 and 44 hundredths divided by 2. This is a whole number, our 2 is here, so we just go ahead and take our decimal point and move it up. And then we divide it just like it's 144 divided by 2. So 2 goes into 14 7 times. Multiply, we get 14, subtract the 0, bring down the 4. 2 goes into 4 twice. So we get 72 hundredths. So now this equals 72 hundredths. And then we bring down the plus 2 that we haven't used. So now we're going to go ahead and take our 72 hundredths and our 2. Now once again, this is combinatory-like terms. Whenever we're adding or subtracting, we have to make sure they're the same. So 2 is in the ones place, so that's the same as 2.0. So we line up the decimal point and we can actually add another 0. And we can add these and we get 2, 7, 2. Just add it and then put your decimal point directly below the others. 2 and 72 hundredths. So our answer for this one will be 2 and 72 hundredths. If we skip down to I, we can see that we have parentheses, but there's actually nothing we can do inside those parentheses. We could go ahead and divide that and make that into a decimal, or we can simply multiply these two, because when you have parentheses touching a number, it means multiply. So in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and make 4.2 into a fraction by putting it over 1, and we're going to multiply that times 6/8. So we're going to do that first. So now we're going to go ahead and multiply numerator times numerator. So 4.1 times 6 and 1 times 8. So numerator times numerator, so 4.2 times 6. We multiply this just like 42 times 6. 6 times 2 is 12, carry a 1. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25. And 1 decimal place, so 25 and 2 tenths over 1 times 8, which equals 8. So we get 25.2 over 8. And then we're going to go ahead and simplify that. A fraction is a division problem. So we take 25.2 and we divide it by 8. 8 goes into 25 3 times. 8 times 3 is 24. Gives us a 1. We have the 12. 8 goes into 12 once. That gives us a 4 when we subtract. We can add another 0. And then it goes in there 5. So once again, our decimal point just goes up, since we have a whole number here as a divisor, 3 and 15 hundredths. So if we go back, this became 3 and 15 hundredths, and then we didn't use the plus 6.1. So now we simply line up our decimal points, because we have to put the ones below the ones and the tenths below the tenths. And we can add a 0 here, and then we simply add like 315 plus 610. And we get 9 and 25 hundredths. We'll go ahead and take a look at K. On K for PEMDAS, we have to do parentheses first, which means we're going to go ahead and do this. 4 0.4 plus 2.8. So when we're going to go ahead and do this, we just line up our decimal points, put it in the answer, and then we add it just like 44 plus 28. 4 and 8 equal 12, carry the 1. 4 and 1 are 5, plus 2 makes 7 and 2/10. So now this became 7 and 2/10. We bring down our 1/2, our minus 6.4 are divided by 8. So our next step is to go through and do our multiplication and division. This means multiply since we have parentheses here touching something else. So we're going to do 7.2 times 1/2. So we have 1/2 times 7.2. We can put that over 1. So we get 7.2, numerator times numerator, over 2. And then a fraction is a division problem. 7 and 2/10 divided by 2. 2 goes in there 3 times, which is 6. That gives us 12, and 2 goes into 12 6 times. And our decimal point comes right up. 3 and 6/10. So this now, right here, became 3 and 6/10. And then we bring down the minus 6.4 and the divided by 8. Now, following PEMDAS, before we can do this subtraction here, we have to go ahead and do this division. So we have 6 and 4/10 divided by 8. So 6 and 4/10 divided by 8. We just take our decimal point and put it up. And now we just do 64 divided by 8, which is 8. So we get 8/10. And this will become 8/10. We bring down what we didn't use. So now we're going to do 3 and 6/10 minus 8/10. So 3 and 6/10 minus 8/10. Once again, this is combining only like terms when we add or subtract. So we simply line up our decimal points and we do our tenths and our ones. And then we just do this 36 minus 8. So we ignore the decimals now. We have it in place. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to borrow here. And 16 minus 8 is 8. 2 minus 0 is 2. So 2 and 8/10. So that's going to be our answer. So we're going to go ahead and go through and use order of operations.